We are back.
Hey.
We were missing in action for just a couple of weeks. And it was weird because it got to last week, of course, we should have done the podcast. And I don't know about you, because it was that day, because Christmas Day and New Year's Day were on a Monday, it made those weeks short. And I was thinking, if we try and do it in this week, it's going to cut what's already a 4-day week, essentially, down to a 3-day week. And I thought, it's all going to be a bit tight. So because we decided to duck out and take the easy option.
It feels nice to take an extended break, right?
Nice. Yeah. No, it's no. How was your Christmas and New Year, by the way? Good times?
Oh, feels like a lifetime ago. Yeah, no, it was nice. It was relaxing. Didn't do much. It was just chilling at home and having a nice time with family. With yourself?
I tell you, yeah, exactly. And my daughter came, because I don't get to see a lot of her junior year now with her living in London, but she came back for about 3 or 4 days. We had together, and we always spend Christmas Day. We go out for Christmas lunch, and that's our big thing together. And we had some really nice times. But what surprised me was it was actually when I got back to writing, and there's certain things I have to do in the, just like links that help with SEO, that I do as second nature. And I got back to writing that first story of the year. It's like, I forgot what to do. What? Yeah. The brain had just gone to mush. Yeah. It was the weirdest thing.
It is weird. I mean, I don't know. I had this grandiose plan of publishing. I think it was like 5 or 7 videos or something at the end of the year. I managed maybe 2 or 3. It's just crazy. With time and just you got to prioritize taking a break sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
And also, I mean, your boy's what, 14?
No, it's still 11.
11.
Yeah,
but I mean, you need to make the most of him at that time, don't you? Particularly at Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, although I don't know if he's got an agent now because he's appearing in more and more of your videos. So I don't know if he's like on the side hustle, earning money out of dad.
Yeah, no, he does. Yeah, he does get involved a little bit, but no, I don't pay him for that. No. Child
I'll have a word with him. I'll have a word with him. So we've actually got quite a lot to talk about, even though it's the first couple of weeks of January. There's a fair bit going on. So as normal, we'll get around to some YouTube-y stuff towards the end. But I guess the big one, certainly for you and for your channel, is Galaxy and the Unpacked event that's happening next Wednesday. I finally worked out the time zone. If you're in the UK, it's going to be, I'm looking at some notes I made here, it's going to be 6 o'clock in the evening on Wednesday.
I'm trying not to get too excited, but you're right. Why? I think it's some weird time. Because it's always the case with a new smartphone, isn't it? It gets so much hype out there, and then until I get it, I'd rather until I see the actual thing, because we got that with the iPhone, right? There's so much hype and so much is already known about the device, and so I kind of know what to expect. And there are things that I am excited about, but I'm trying not to get too overhyped about it.
Because obviously I know with Apple, when they have the event, it's kind of, midweek, and then the phone's normally available, or you can pre-order it for the following week, and then it's available to buy. Is that kind of what it is with Samsung? It's a fairly short lead time.
Expectation is for it to be available straight after the event.
Right, okay.
And then, last year, I think it was like a week to get it delivered here in the UK anyway. The year before I had a problem because I went for one of those special colors that you can get. I think you did that as well with your Flip, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh,
my Flip, I remember that. Where's that, Alex? Where's my Flip?
Still here. Exactly. Yeah, still here collecting dust. I might need a charge, right? Just to. I don't know if it's safe to just leave it like that. But yeah, it can add time if you add a special color. Sometimes up another week or so. But I'm hoping that that's not the case, and even if it is the case, I'm not going to wait. Right? It's the S23 Ultra did so well on my channel, and so there's so many people. I'm hoping that when I do the S24 Ultra reviews, that a lot of people will come back for those, because right now my channel is absolutely in the gutters. Yeah, doesn't matter what I post about. It just
we'll talk about that later on, shall we, and see if we can get have a chat about what, and just season. I mean, that was something we were going to mention, how seasonal YouTube can be as well. But if we look at this up and coming, I mean, they called it Unpacked, so let's pre-unpack it for them. I've watched a couple of your videos. There was one video just before Christmas where you had a really long chat about it, and so I sat down and had a listen and watch of that.
Yeah,
and it sounds like, well, I wasn't aware they are also going the titanium route, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's definitely the case. There's pictures online. I think there's been pictures online about it for over a month now. So yeah, it's definitely titanium. They're probably going to come up with a few variations of the colors, but I don't know. That's the natural titanium color, whatever they call it, right? We don't know, but that's out there definitely. But no weight it's not going to do anything to the weight. So it might feel a little bit different. Maybe the weight distribution will change a little bit, but it's exactly the same weight as the S23 Ultra.
So their driver for using the titanium, then, is it just aesthetic? Is it just to make it look and feel prettier?
I guess, yeah. Follow Apple, or maybe did Apple follow them? Who knows? Because these things they've been in the works for some time, right?
And then, as ever, bezels. You said they're getting slimmer, smaller. I mean, they're already tiny, aren't they?
I mean, for a tech reviewer, I'm probably one of the people that I don't care. I mean, do you? I mean, do you notice those things even when you're using the phone? Yeah.
No, well, unless
they're ridiculous. And the only time I care about them is when they are extra thick. Like if you look at the Pixel Fold, that is like it looks like an old phone. In my opinion, anyway. But yeah, if it's that thin, it's like 0.2 millimeters or something ridiculous, right?
I know. I mean, they get. I'm looking at the screens on the iPhone. I mean, the bezels are so slim on there now that you barely don't notice them anyway. And same with the Pixel that I've got as well.
Yeah, it's hard to see. I mean, obviously the iPhone makes it black and it kind of blends in with the actual edge. So it's at a point where I don't think it's a conversation, right? It's just like
no,
but Twitter has to say something, right? People on Twitter have to kind of have something to talk about.
Well,
you can barely notice it.
No, and just going slightly off subject, I'll tell you a dirty secret. Until I started getting into this gig, using a Mac all day long, until I actually started writing and following it closely, I didn't know that bezels on Macs were such a hot issue. I don't notice them. When you're up against a wall, you really don't notice them. When you're working, you're looking at the center of the screen. Yeah,
it's a tech Twitter thing, apparently. Yeah. Same with the notch. I mean, or tech YouTube as well sometimes. So I do have an issue with the notch on the Mac. I mean, I think they are a bit unnecessary, but it's housing the camera, is doing something in there. Could it be more elegant? Sure, but after about 5 minutes of using it, it's like, okay, whatever. It doesn't stop you from doing the work, does it?
No, exactly. Now, I know you mentioned about displays. The one, obviously, I haven't ever owned a Samsung S Ultra, but when I look at my Pixel 8 Pro against the iPhone, the display is the one thing that I will always say that the display on the Pixel is actually, I think, better than iPhones. Now, you've got the three of them. I know you said the display is going to be even brighter this year on the S24 Ultra, 2,500 nits.
Yeah, the max brightness, right? It can go up to that point.
Yeah,
it is pretty bright already, right? I think it's been the same display since the S21 Ultra in terms of the hardware. It's any better brightness, especially for countries where you're in a lot like in direct sunlight outside. But for us over here, it's like maybe a couple of weeks in the summer where we go, it's too bright. It's not a major thing for me. What I'm really, and I think I said that in my kind of what I'm expecting. I think I did that before Christmas about the S24 Ultra. And that's still the case. The more I hear about it, I'm still kind of, okay, that's where we're going. And that's what, I'm getting excited about. But in a way, I'm also, which is the AI stuff, by the way.
Yeah.
But in a way, like after testing the Pixel for a bit, I just did my 3-month review on the Pixel.
I saw that, yeah.
And that's been, surprisingly good as well. How it's, I mean, once it first came out, there was a lot of features missing and whatever. Now they're bringing them on now.
Yeah.
But just how everything just works. I mean, there's, again, similar to the bezels. A lot of people are saying, the Tensor G3 is so slow. And it's almost like an Exynos performance. It's like, really? Because I'm actually trying to stress test this thing, and it's absolutely flying through everything that you would need on a smartphone.
Yeah, same. Since I put a video up last week, which was a discussion about just iOS and Android using, trying to get away from the arguments and just talk about why we select whichever one we select.
I haven't watched that yet. Okay, yeah.
But since that video last week, I've actually had the Pixel in my pocket every day. So I've been two-phoning, but it's been great because I've really actually begun properly to use the Pixel now. And
I love it.
I do. Yeah, the screen on it is lovely. I mean, I said at the beginning of that video, look, I am an iOS user, I am an iPhone user, but it doesn't stop me realizing this Pixel is a really good phone.
Yeah.
And it's the display. I love looking at it. It's such a good display.
It's a good display. It feels great. I've got this really like thin case on it right now, and it's it's really nice in the evening. unless I'm doing something that like watching YouTube or something that I'd like a bigger display, I pick up the Fold in that case. But most of the time, I just reach for the Pixel because it is just a lot nicer if it doesn't, get heavy after. Doesn't get heavy after a while.
It's not my imagination, is it? It is really good to look at.
Yeah, and the haptics are pretty underrated as well. No one talks about it, right? But the haptics are really satisfying. Right?
Yeah, you get that little sort of flick, dumping your hand. It's a real sensation getting your hands, isn't it?
It's a bit sharper than before, and it's very different. It's very unique to Pixel. I like it, and it's a shame that it came out. Well, there's two things that I think is a bit unfortunate. One is that it came out with so many other good phones out there, not just from Google and Apple, but if you look at Xiaomi's, Oppo's, there's so many good phones that you can get for less money. So it's unfortunate in that sense that they came out even $100 more expensive than normal. Here in the UK, they're still quite high. I think they've been reduced by £100, whereas in the US right now, even like 3 months after launch, you can get you can get it for $799 in some places. So it's already $200 cheaper.
Have you tried the video boost feature on it much yet?
I literally just tried. As I uploaded the video, and I said in the video, and unfortunately, I haven't got it because I did all the updates, and it's like, where's it? It didn't come.
Yeah.
And then on the day I was uploading, I noticed it came up, and it's like, try it. So it was during the day anyway, and I haven't tried it yet. So
I've only played around with it, but I've kept the videos short, and they didn't take too long to come back down because I think you're left with a temporary file on your phone before the enhanced file comes back.
Yeah, and people are complaining about that too, right? I've heard a few people on Twitter saying, I still call it Twitter, sorry.
Yeah. We're going to always. You can't call it X. I mean, it's such a weird name, isn't it?
It's weird, yeah. I think it's, I saw someone saying, the Pixel is cheating in a way, right? It's got this processor that can't do things that should be done on device. Alluding to the fact that all these AI features that goes to cloud and comes back should be done on device. I'm thinking, well, yes and no, right? At the same time, if it's getting done and it's a feature on the phone, I don't really care where it's done.
No.
I did see a problem with that when I was trying to show someone, how cool the wallpapers were, and I was in a really like remote location. So yeah, that didn't work because it needs internet, to be pretty good.
No, and I suppose if anything, you could argue if it's being done off device, it's going to help battery life as well, isn't it? Rather than pushing the process the whole time on the phone, it kind of makes sense to.
Yeah,
I think they've limited it to 10 minutes, haven't they? I think it's limited to 10-minute videos. Yeah, because I was thinking about that, huge files, but I think they have put a time cap on it.
And that's fair. I mean, that for a normal use, right? What do you need a 10-minute video for in the dark, right? I think the audio, the AI fixing audio feature, that's 3 minutes limit.
Yeah,
which is amazing as well. What it does.
I know the amount of time that I used to spend with parametric EQ trying to get rid of wind noises and reverb and all that, and it's just done it with a drag of a slider. It's crazy, isn't it?
So those things are the things that I'm really excited about because Galaxy AI is the thing that's going to come with the S24 Ultra, and it's supposed to be the next big thing. It's going to be tricky, right? Because Samsung is traditionally a hardware company. For them to be going this way and kind of fighting against people like Google should be interesting. But I'm excited for it because I think that's having a smartphone that is really smart. That's what the Pixel does for me. Is a proper assistant, and you can actually do quite a lot with it from dictation, speech recognition, all that stuff. It's really great. So I'm hoping the S24 Ultra will kind of raise the bar a little bit in that sense, but we'll see.
And I mean, just before we get back to the Samsung, talking about the Pixel, I said I've been using it a lot this week, and even when I'm doing DMs to people now, I'm doing dictation, and it's quicker and it's so accurate. Rarely do I have, only if I'm using some really weird nickname or a colloquial term or something will it mess up. But if I'm just using actual regular language, it is so good. It is so good.
It's good.
You can just walking down the street, send a DM, and it's boom, done.
Yeah, and the live translation is really cool as well. So you can speak in your in English, and it will live translate in text to Spanish or whatever. That is really neat. I mean, that's quite cool. That's really smart, and it's it's almost it's not almost, it's instant what it's doing, which is insane.
I know.
So there's definitely a lot to be said about those smart features. clearly a phone that, is, I think Marquez said this, right? It's a very smart, it's the smartest smartphone out there. So I think
do you think that Samsung are going to go almost head to head with Google in an AI battle then?
100%. Yeah, I've been watching, because it's going to be powered by Snapdragon Gen 8 Gen 3.
Yeah.
And if you look at Snapdragon's, they did a keynote about 2-3 months ago, showcasing that, and they had Honor in there. I'm not sure if they may have had Xiaomi in there as well. I'm not sure, but Honor demonstrated a few things in there with AI, just voice enabled stuff, just talking to the phone and saying, go off and do this for me, and it comes back like almost like a ChatGPT like experience. So yeah, if that's been done by companies like Honor and Xiaomi, then yeah, we can expect quite a bit of that. And you can tell that the Unpacked logo, everything is surrounding artificial intelligence. So it's going to be heavy on that.
And I know in your video that I was watching, you were kind of questioning the fact that whether Samsung would make all these features available on the S23 Ultra. And you kind of think, they're going to play the crafty one and say, no, it's not 100%. Compatible, can't backdate it.
Yeah, I find that weird, right? Because I think Apple does as well to a certain extent, right?
Absolutely.
Kind of to say this feature is only available if you got the latest. But it's like, well, why? Because clearly, and the Pixel has the worst of all for me, which is the on the Pixel 8, the regular Pixel 8, not the Pro. You've got the exact same hardware on the camera, but you can't use some of the Pro features in the camera because so it's literally a flag on the software that they turned off. So I don't let people use it unless they go for the Pro,
because they want you to buy the year's new model.
That's so sneaky. Yeah, I mean, I guess they have to do that, but I'd understand if the hardware was not capable, and therefore it makes sense to pay less. But when you get in the same hardware, right, it's tricky. And I think Apple, up to the iPhone 14, did that. Right, they had the same camera, and they were the same features.
So I know that clearly the AI is the part you're really looking forward to. And I'm assuming that we can expect a fair amount of next week's event to be handed over to that, can't we? I'm assuming they're really going to try. I mean, looking at the artwork, as you say, the invite that I've seen.
Yeah, like I said, even the logo of Unpacked is the little AI. Everyone is using that little star logo, right? So yeah, that is going to be heavily done. I mean, I'm expecting some cool demonstrations as well on stage. Yeah, they always do something clever, right? They always try anyway. But, yeah, like I said, I'm trying not to get too hyped because there's so many kind of things that could actually disappoint. Because it's all great having all these features, but when it comes to actually using them, how really practical are they going to be? And let's not forget, right? The hardware is still important. I still want to be able to take amazing photos. I mean, they can't go backwards with the cameras, right? So that's one of the things that most people will be covering, which is the zoom.
Yeah,
we're losing.
Yeah,
the 10x.
Yeah,
but we're getting 5x on a bigger sensor. So the first thing I want to compare is, like for like, the S23 Ultra on the 10x zoom and the S24 Ultra on the 5x zoom, but kind of cropped into 10x, and see what that does.
The S23 Ultra you've got at the moment, then its main sensor is how big? Is it?
I don't even know. Is it? There's multiple, right? There's a 200 mega thing in here somewhere
for the main camera, I take it.
Yeah. On the zoom lens, I think it's only. I could be wrong here. Correct if I'm wrong here. If anyone listening, I think it might be a 12 megapixel on the zoom,
and that's getting a bump.
That's the one that's going to 50 megapixel.
Because
in theory, it should balance it out, right? You're losing optical, but you're getting more pixels in. So
so if you're showing more dense pixels, you'd imagine it's going to be a better quality, wouldn't you?
For me, and this is true for the Pixel. If you take a Pixel, I'm actually learning to take photos just stepping back and using the 5x because I just love the way it looks. The separation in the background, it looks so close now to just like a regular, mirrorless or DSLR camera. It is that good that I don't use the main camera anymore. I like to go to the zoom camera, the 5x, and just step back a little bit to what I want to do. It just looks good.
there's something I'll come back to in a minute. I don't want to get out of step. I'll come back to a point you just raised there in just a second. So talking camera-wise, because of course, again, you're in a great position where you've got the S23 Ultra and you've shot 8K. You've uploaded in 8K. I think you found out how to do it, didn't you? Now, that aside of iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I know you've said, as much as you're Samsung, you usually love it, you've said, look, I think the video on the Pro Max is probably still better. How do you compare?
I still think that, I still think that, I think Samsung has done an amazing job this year. As the first S23 Ultra was the first Samsung for a while, right? That I think, okay, if I'm at a pinch, I can actually use the video. I have a problem with HDR, but that's true for even the iPhone. If I turn on HDR, and I play back on anything else other than the phone itself, it just looks hands.
I learned that mistake last year. Yes, I recorded.
I remember your Pixel review.
I recorded something in HDR, and it's like, oh, it's never again. Yeah.
So if it's just normal, like 4K video, I can use it, and no one will tell really the difference. But if you're gonna. If you look for things like grass, you can tell the Samsung is still over sharpened a little bit. There are some ways around it. I use like ND filters to combat that a little bit, to get a little bit more motion blur, and so it's not too sharp and look, like a giveaway that it is a smartphone. Whereas the iPhone, even if you don't do anything, a little bit of decent lighting is all you need, really. Of course, if you add an ND filter and add other things, it would get even better. But I think the iPhone is out of the box a better video camera.
I've never put an ND filter on any phone yet. It's something I should try having a play
with.
Try
it, because it does make a big difference.
There's a couple you really rate, aren't there?
Yeah. In fact, I mentioned them in my video earlier today. Yeah, it's just really good. I carry them with me because they are, it's really bright, and you want to take, if you use, you remember Filmic Pro?
Yeah.
Now it's Blackmagic Design that we use, right? Yeah. The same thing, right? In there, you can control things manually. So I've got it here. And this is like it's a variable thing. It's like a sunglasses, right? I like this because it's just a clip. So it doesn't really.
Oh, right.
It doesn't need a case. A lot of them need a case. I've got those too, but this one at a pinch, right? Boom, just clip it in.
On
and. So I like it because it removes, some of those over sharpened smartphone giveaway things.
And I mean, the thing I was gonna come back to, we were talking about how close they're getting to cameras. I did a little experiment towards the end of last year. I think the last 3 videos I shot on the 15 Pro Max log, and as you know, I've got your Canon here, and in last week's video I did on the Canon, and people actually mentioned that it didn't look as good as the iPhone. I remember you and I talking on the podcast saying, do you think I ought to give it a go? This is newer tech, but that's a camera, that's a DSLR, that's a Canon.
What focal length did you use on the iPhone? It was
24.
24, okay.
24, and then I cropped it in the edit because it is actually it's an uncropped, isn't it? So it's quite wide. So I cropped it in, but it's I lose a little bit of the softness in the back, a little bit. But it's not like everything's super crisp behind me using the iPhone. But I must say, because obviously it's shooting in log, so you can use color correction, and you can play with it some more.
I guess portrait video isn't really a cinematic mode, right? It's probably not going to be good enough.
Exactly. So I've shot everything. I mean, they are huge, but because it's going straight to the SSD, it's not an issue. And honestly, the quality, when you look, compare the 2 videos side by side, you can just look at one and it just looks so much better. So at the moment, I'm shooting everything for A-roll on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which seems ridiculous, but it's actually...
If it looks better, then,
I think if you take a look, just take a couple of seconds look. Last week's one, and then one from the end of, or today's one, for instance, that's going up, is on the 15 Pro Max, and last week's was on the Canon. And you'll just see, it's edited the same way, but it's just... And if anyone's shooting in log on the iPhone, I found that the best conversion is the Blackmagic one. It works brilliantly. I played around with a few.
Yeah, it unlocks LT, right? Which is supposedly more colors or whatever. Yeah. So.
I mean, the great thing is also when you're shooting in Blackmagic, you can put the LUT on the phone so you can kind of see how it's going to look, which is great for trying to get an idea of your lights. It's a brilliant app, but that conversion, which I airdropped from the phone over to the Mac, so I just use it now all the time in Premiere. I've got it loaded up, and it works so well. It's almost like a one-hit wonder. It's down, to a tiny little bit of adjustment.
Are you recording externally as well, I guess? Because it's going to be quite a lot of
they're big. They're big. This week, I think I recorded for 20 minutes, and it was about 70 gigs I mean, they're big.
70 gigs for 10 minutes, yeah.
No, 70 gigs about 15 minutes. They're big. 15. They are big files. But, it's easy because it's not touching the phone, and I can carry out a little T7 drive with me. I know you did. Your best ever, I think your best ever video was on external drives, wasn't it?
Best ever video.
Was it one? It's certainly up there, wasn't it? It's one of your. You comparing external drives, didn't you?
Oh yeah. Oh, that was definitely the best one. Yeah, I've got a V2 of that coming out. Yeah.
Out of interest, because it's ages and ages since I've watched it. I think I watched that before I actually knew you. What did you reckon to the T7? Because I really like it. Granted,
not for the iPhone. Yeah, I would say it's good for. You can actually record ProRes on it, and it will work. But I've noticed that after a while, especially when it gets a bit warm, say 15 minutes, you start dropping frames. I definitely saw that. And if you run a test, like a synthetic test with using, those benchmark tools, it will actually say that it doesn't support ProRes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you get like a red cross in front of that quality. So you can record it in ProRes 30 FPS.
Yeah.
And the test said that that's good enough for that, but the speed is not good enough for 60 FPS. And I've seen that, and I've in my, I think it was my first iPhone 15 Pro Max video. I was like, have I done something wrong here? Because, when I was watching it, it was fine. But then I noticed, when I was playing back, it was only, I don't know, in the 10th clip that I noticed this status. And I uploaded all of that in their raw format without any editing to my Google Drive. If people want to check, I'll share a link. Because, that was definitely the T7. And I was hoping that would work well because that's kind of affordable and quite popular. But it didn't.
So for you,
I'm actually using.
Yeah, I was going to say, which one do you go for now?
Yeah, so it's not. I've got it here. It's a crucial. This one is the X10 Pro, which is overkill. This will definitely work. But the X9 Pro, which is the baby brother of this, same size, but you can see how small it is.
Yeah, it's tiny.
It's awesome, and you can obviously now. There's so many people with that ability to MagSafe it to the phone. But it's light and it's I got this recommended by Philip Bloom. He's like a very big channel on photography and stuff, and he uses that for all his edits. So. Brilliant. I'm a big fan of the Acacia stuff, but that's a little bit more substantial to carry with you. So.
And again, this might be a naive question because I haven't used a Samsung. Can you record direct to SSD on the Samsung if you're, say, doing big 8K files or anything?
Not natively, I don't think.
Right.
8K, record on the phone, and it'd be nice if you could. It would also be, I mean, for me, it's more important that they bring in log. Or some sort. I mean, I think log is licensed and is involved in Sony and whatever. So it's probably not going to work. But they might come up with their own codecs or whatever to allow us to ideally, do that. That would be cool.
You'd like to see some kind of raw video file ability.
Yeah, and I don't know, because we're not hearing anything in the leaks. I'm kind of thinking, well, we're not getting it, which is a shame because that's the thing that lets you be more creative, right, with your looks.
Absolutely.
Whatever. So I'm sure it will look amazing, right? Don't know where they're going with 8K, but 8K is already insane. I mean, the thing is, you have to play back on something that plays 8K. But even if you play back, I think the video I did on 8K at the time, when I uploaded YouTube, still there was a roundabout way, a very confusing way to.
I remember you saying it wasn't straightforward, wasn't it?
Back. Yeah, no, I had to upload it. I had to use Adobe. Because Final Cut wouldn't export 8K. It still does.
What Premiere does.
Premiere does if you do, in a roundabout way. There's nothing online about it. You have to just trial and error it. Eventually, you get. Because I remember seeing people like Farouk from iPhone do. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah. I've watched them.
Yeah, he's done a few 8K videos only to test stuff, and he uploads it and you can see it's in 8K. But recently, well, I don't know, I'd say 6 months ago, I saw an article from Google that they're not supporting that format anymore. It's a shame. I hope they reconsider it. Yeah, it looks when you play back in 8K, it's incredible. It does make a big difference.
So when you play back 8K on the Samsung itself, it looks good on there, I take it.
It looks great on an 8K telly. It looks amazing. And on YouTube as well, if you've got display, if you're playing back on a 4K display even, you can tell it's sharper and whatever. My regret is not using like a gimbal or something, because in 8K the stabilization isn't great.
Right.
So maybe that sort of thing will improve. But so I had to add some fake stabilization, which crops in a little bit. But even then, right, it's just I think it was only a couple of minutes video that I did. Yeah, it looks awesome.
And out of interest, I know you're still packing the S23 as your daily. What storage have you got on your own phone?
I think it's a 256 on this. No, actually, this is 512, because they did a deal. They were selling the 512 for the price of the 256.
So, right. Yeah. Because I presume that's the kind of deal they'll be doing next week then, from what you're saying. If you order on the day, you'll probably get some special offer on.
You can never tell with Samsung. They used to be so good with things like trade-in and deals. Especially even here in the UK, it used to be amazing. Now they're a bit more like Apple. They'll give you 300 quid or something for a 1-year-old device. I'm exaggerating a bit, but it doesn't feel like a good deal anymore.
And that brings me round to that question I was chatting to you and Daniel about on our last podcast. I don't know whether to buy it or not. It's a lot of money for me, and I'm not convinced. We're going to be talking about CPM and RPM at the moment, which isn't brilliant at the moment. I just don't know if I'm going to make the money back. But equally, I can see the way people are looking at my channel at the moment. I think it'd be an interesting phone for me to talk about. I was hoping that Apple were going to be bringing out some Mac Minis in January. Clearly, that ain't happening. So I need content. Well, I've missed the boat.
Yeah, you know how I feel about that, right? And I think it can go either way, right? You can sort of stay in your lane, sort of thing, and be successful that way. I think that's Daniel is a great example of that, right? It's just like Samsung content, and that works. I don't know. I potentially could just transform the entire channel into a Samsung channel.
No, you could easily,
I just get bored of talking about the same thing. That's just, some sort of shiny object syndrome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I was going to talk about that, and you did a series of 2 or 3 blogs towards the end of last year. So I was going to talk about that, about you sort of, branching out a little bit.
I need to do a new one this year. Yeah, definitely.
So I'm definitely going to watch the event next Wednesday, and I'm thinking at the moment I probably might give, because then I've got at least the 3 flagships.
I know what's going to happen.
What's that?
You're going to press the buy button.
I got a feeling I am. What sort of money do they run at? I'm assuming they're going to be
1,200, 300.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Probably. Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
It is, but as you've proven, you can get a virtually year's content out of these devices if you're creative and think of different ways of dressing it up. You can keep on making good content about them, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, keeping an open mind, because I could have just ignored the iPhone, right? And the videos that did the best last year for me were iPhone versus S23 Ultra videos, or comparing the Pixel with the iPhone. So the iPhone is still a very popular content, So I think it's important. I mean, for my channel anyway, to branch out, and I don't think I do that enough. Actually, I think I should do more of Chinese brands that I haven't actually reviewed even a Sony phone yet. So I think I need to do more of those.
How diverse would you go?
Lesser known.
Would you go away from phones? Would you say, phones and tablets? So if we count those as one group, in essence, would you think about reviewing anything? I don't know. Well, like this rabbit thing that everyone's talking about to come out at CS, or cameras, for instance, or do you think that's too far of a push?
Yeah.
That it would.
I don't know. It's the channel. I created the channel with the intention. This is 4 years ago almost now, right? But the intention was to just talk about gadgets, right? Tech and gear and tech. There's not smartphones and tech, right? It's just it is, my channel is meant to be broad, but it's just
but your audience,
I still think to grow you have to kind of narrow a little bit, right? So handheld stuff works well, tablets, because even I haven't done much in the last probably year and a half on MacBooks, but MacBooks do well on my channel. But I haven't done much on those. Mac Minis do well, the MacBook Airs. So I think laptops is another area that I should probably pay a bit more attention to. because smartphones, I do get bored with them.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure you like me. We sort of sit there thinking, well, how can I sort of redress it? You know, how can I make it the same video different in essence? Because you want to be entertained. And as you said, I think your audience like what you talk about and they want to listen to you talking about it in your way, edited in your way. Yeah. And you don't want to fail to deliver. And we all get caught in that kind of
and I do like sort of, you know, the tech aspect, but I think having a diverse sort of approach works better for my own sake, because you know I'd get really I'd find really hard to just do the one thing, you know. But yeah, we'll see.
I know we'll have these sort of dreams of thinking, I'll make something, you know, the vanity video, but it's hard. Once you see channels going in a certain direction and people want to talk to you about, or want you to talk about a certain thing, because that's part of it. You need to cater to what people want you to talk about, don't they? Now, gadget-wise, before we start talking YouTube, Vision Pro. We now know it's happening today.
And we can't get it in the UK.
Yeah, we can't get it. So you haven't got any grand plans to fly out to the States or anything to tell the missus, sorry, I've got to do this for business. I'm off to New York. There's none of that.
No. I mean, the thought does cross my mind to do that, but I don't know. It's a bit much for something that, you know, I'll probably get 10,000 views on, and, you know, people forget about it straight away. Because there's going to be so many, you know, the bigger creators doing stuff, and
I mean,
I'm just gonna, you know, just watch through their eyes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when it comes over to the UK, I'll definitely try to get to London and put one on at least, and have a look what's going on. But I mean, it's the weirdest. In fact, I know IK Dave has spoken to you, and I was on his new podcast yesterday. It's just gone up today.
Oh yeah. And
we were talking about that. Saying it was the weirdest press release. It was such a meek and
little
quiet
tweet, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like
and there was but even the press release was so muted. It had nothing new to say. It wasn't shouting anything new, and I think they're just.
Is it because it's going to be quite limited to start with?
Yeah,
you're thinking it's very specialized stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's 273 stores in the US. And I think the maths works out well. You can kind of backtrack it. If you're thinking there's 500,000 units being made, and I don't know how many of those are only going to be in the US to start with, but they're going to work out to something crazy like 1 unit a day they're expecting to sell per store. It's crazy low. And then I think almost they'd rather, if there are any glitches, let's face it, it's new, so there's bound to be problems. Once it lands in people's homes, there's bound to be problems, and I think they'd rather it be a quiet, muted little rollout rather than fanfares and then getting a lot of egg thrown at them, is kind of my take on it. I think by WWDC, 6 months on, probably get Vision OS 2, and then I think there'll be more apps out there, there'll be people, and also we've got to learn how to use it, whereas you know, we've got to learn this whole new muscle memory of pinching and zooming in the air, and it's
for me is the longevity of the use as well, right? Because there's so much involved in wearing that thing for, you know, some parts of me think I wish I could wear for longer, therefore the battery should last longer, but another part of me goes, you know, I don't want to be too kind of you know, kind of excluded from the real world in a way for too long. So it's a weird one. It's going to take some time to use and get used to
it. Really is. Have you got some headsets, haven't you, already?
Yeah, I've got like a pair of sunglasses that looks like is the usual. I mean, there's a few out there. The one I've got is Viture, I think it's called Viture. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it does what it says in the tin. You can watch content and, you know, move stuff around with the phone. I think you can use it as almost like a pointer with the phone. Move things around, but it's not something that, you know, I think on a plane that's amazing. So on a long trip somewhere, just wearing that and watching your own content instead of I like the idea of that, but we'll see, man. I don't know. It's going to be about $4,000 here, isn't it?
It's $4,000, ridiculous. And then we now know the price of the inserts or lenses range between $100 and $150. So I assume it's going to be something similar here, and they're throwing in a polishing cloth for free, believe it or not. Absolutely not joking you. They're actually part of their press release. They said, You get that, but I think they're going to count, and also both straps. So you get the top head balance strap, and both straps are included. I don't know. I mean, a week today you can put the pre-orders in. So I know YouTube's going to be alight with it, and then it's February the 2nd, isn't it? About 2 weeks after
they
land.
Yeah, February 2nd. Is it true that they are, since they announced it first, whenever it was in October or something? Is it true that they've changed the hardware already? I mean, they made it better already, or
I hadn't heard that.
Just rumors?
I hadn't heard that. I know everyone's actually pretty surprised that it is shipping with M2, which, again, for something that's that flagship and is that high end, you would have. I don't know how big of an issue it is to have used the M3 architecture. I don't know. I mean, they must be confident in what's happening, but it's. Whereas I thought it was going to be very much with a gaming accent, it doesn't seem they're pushing hard on that. No, I think they actually want it to be more of a consumption device and also productivity. I think their long-term view is that we are all going to work with these massive virtual screens in front of us. And
I think that's my main. That would be my main use for work. Would be like having several screens in a tight space, right? In a physical tight space, you can have big workspace. I think that'll be my main. I mean, I think entertainment is a tricky one, right? Because you'd have to be alone.
Well, exactly. You're going to cut the rest of the family off, aren't you?
Yeah, unless they're all wearing it and then kind of in a way interact. It's just weird.
Suddenly, we're four people in the family. You're going 12 grand like down. Whoa.
Yeah.
Sorry, 16 grand down. Yeah, imagine.
Yeah.
No. That's a household with disposable income. For that family.
Yeah. So we can't send you to school anymore, but hey, you got a Vision Pro.
Yeah, exactly. But you can watch great video. No, I mean, I'm getting like you. I'm going to be really interested. I don't know which British creators are going to get to cover. I'm sure some British creators will get it shipped over, or they'll be off, go out and pick it up. I'm sure there will be some
people that we know said they were going to fly to get it. I think maybe Mark, Pete Madison said that as well. Yeah,
right.
They would make the trip and get it. And amazing. I'll leave precariously through there.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I wonder how they're going to cover the experience on the. If we look at somebody like Marquez, who's got every kind of possible option to cover this thing. I wonder how we're going to get into his eyes to see what he's seeing. There's got to be some way they're going to put a camera inside.
He probably already figured it out, right? Some way of putting. I was again mentioning him again, but yeah, iPhone did that with the AirPods Pro. I can never say AirPods Max or something.
Yeah, AirPods Max.
Yeah. He's found a way of getting a microphone inside it so that we could experience a little bit of the spatial audio experience. And it was amazing what he did. So I think in a way that probably. If you look at how Formula One, for example, if you see what Marquez has been kind of looking at Formula One recently, maybe he learned, because in there's a helmet cam, right?
Yes.
Those are tiny.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a way.
Oh, yeah. It's a great idea, because last year the helmet cam had come on so far. It looked really good. I mean, it's
even
so
in
realistic,
the dark
isn't it?
Races, it looks very cool. And it's not fully stabilized because obviously your head is moving, but it looks watchable.
Oh, but it's so real.
So I think the tech is already there, right? In terms of getting a tiny camera somewhere.
Yeah.
To then kind of, we can see what he's seeing. I'm sure you look weird, but I'm sure there's probably a kind of an output as well, isn't there? Like a way of recording, almost like a screen record.
I don't know what ports it's got out on it.
I know even if it's like an app, like like on the Mac, we've got like a way of recording what you're seeing.
Yeah.
It's like just record a video and output what I'm seeing as a video. That would be cool if you can do that.
Because I know they were all surprised when the announcement this week saying it's only going to have 256 to start with. I'm sure I'm right on that. And there was no other storage options, I don't think. And Gurman seems to suggest that's because they, again, wanted to simplify things at the start and not suddenly, another $200 on top of your $3,500 for a bit more storage. So I think they just kept it at one base storage. 256 sounds tight. I know you talked about that with the phones this year.
Especially when you're recording videos, right?
Yeah, exactly.
In that new kind of
spatial,
yeah. So I think there's that. And there's also the fact that memory, right? Is it 16 gig or something?
16, I think.
Yeah. So that feels tight to me as well. I mean, I know it's a lot. You can run a MacBook Air on that and still be doing quite a bit. But it feels to me that because there's so many different workspaces and different things running at the same time, I'd expected a bit more. But
you'd have thought
maybe 16 is plenty. I mean, it is plenty in a computer. So
maybe. I mean, Apple Silicon has changed the dynamics of how everything works, isn't it? I mean, 16 gigs of silicon, Apple Silicon, isn't the same as it used to correlate to. So I don't know. Not long till we find out, I guess. And one other thing that I treated myself to this week, I don't know if I got a second HomePod. I've now got a stereo pair. I put it in for the first time on Wednesday night.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh,
they're good.
I was expecting it just to be better.
Yeah,
with stereo.
Right.
The first thing I watched is a new series that just started on Apple TV this week. I'm going to get his name wrong. Peter Capaldi, the one that was Doctor Who, dour-faced Scottish actor.
Yeah.
Brilliant new series.
Okay.
Really set in London. Really, really. Anyway, so that's the first thing I watched through it, and it was this layers of audio. It'd clearly been mastered with that in mind, where the sirens were literally sounding as if they were behind the voice. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm nard about it for a long time, and I'd sort of watched a couple of videos and I'd read a couple of things, but said, honestly, it's better than you think. And I just thought it was going to sound better and fuller in the room.
Yeah.
Massive difference. Massive.
Amazing. Yeah, no, I haven't tried the big one yet. I've got a mini one here and then one at home, but nothing crazy. I tried an amazing set of speakers, completely out of the Apple world. But I was like, geez, he's moved on a lot of the tech.
Was that for home entertainment?
That was a JBL one, yeah.
Oh, yes, the JBL,
thing,
yeah.
Yeah.
You had a video about that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Completely tanked, but yeah, I did.
Well,
I enjoyed
on that point, why don't we talk tubes then? Now, this is, although I've been trying my hand at this since September 21, it's only really now that I feel I'm beginning to get a feel of what's going on.
Yeah, we need some sound effects. Come on, congratulations. Where's the party? We need a soundboard. Come on, it's 2024, man.
It's been a good couple of weeks for me. It has. I sort of turned a corner, and I'm sure, like you're waiting for the bubble to burst. You keep on thinking, I've had a couple of good videos, but this next one's going to absolutely tank. It's going to float down the river. So I'm not counting my blessings at all. But tell me, is January normally really crap for views, for CPM, RPM, or is it just...
It used to be quite regularly crap. And before I started, I think the expectation was that, okay, January, forget, because there's nothing going on in the world of tech.
Yep.
But last 2 years, and that's changed, right? Because was it last year that Apple released a bunch of things?
HomePods, Mac Minis. Yep.
Yeah, so we're all busy. And the year before, there was something else. So I think, it used to be the case that tech is generally crap in January. My channel is crap right now, but I can attribute that to just the fact that I'm not uploading videos that I know are like kind of tried and tested. I'm trying a few different things. But I think it used to be the case that January was crap. Now it's probably not as true, I don't think.
So you don't think advertisers look to necessarily pay less in January then? It's not a case that they know.
So I looked at mine just before we started. I looked at mine, and it's like it was £2 per 1,000 views less. So
year on year?
January.
January from December.
From December to January, yeah. So December was almost the same as the entire year last year in terms of how much they pay, but January now is only £2. About $3
on it,
difference. So it's it's a bit lower, but it's not something that would make would break my channel.
So you said that you've been trying some things out. I don't know if you actually want to say what you've had in mind to try out, but did you decide that January was a good time to be dabbling around?
After September, October. I mean, I think I counted 40 smartphone videos last year. So somehow. Almost like one a week, right? It's just
I was going to say it's approaching one a week, yeah.
Ridiculous. Some comparisons, and I did. It was a lot of work. So when it got to the end, I was like, okay, I need to do something different. So I did a couple of vlogs style, just chatting to the audience, and they were intended to be exactly that. They were meant to be viral videos. So I'm really happy with the feedback we got there. Actually, I got that. Because it's something that I see some bigger channels do is sometimes they do like in separate channels as well. They have a vlog channel, but I don't want to do that. It's just a lot of work, right? So that worked well. So I thought I'd try that. And there was a charity thing that I did in there that it's quite cool. And just the tech world as well. I was like, okay, I just want to do something that I actually enjoy doing. So if I was excited about showing my best mate a bit of gadget that I bought, this is how I would do it. So I recorded a video on speakers, and funny enough, I was looking for those speakers because I've got the original, the 1970s L100s, and these are almost like JBLs. Like, well, we'll do something in that style, so the same framing outside. I thought I was just curious to try it. There was no reviews really. There was maybe 2-3 videos in Malaysia or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I'll make my own. And now it's starting to grow. The video is now, I think the audience is not really my audience. It's kind of people who enjoy speakers.
Yeah.
Which is annoying, right? And I think we've had this conversation before that YouTube encourages you, if you watch their newsletters or whatever you read their stuff online, they say, to grow a channel, you need to sometimes branch out a little bit. Maybe not go completely crazy in a niche, but try to do something slightly different, collab with other people, do something different. And every time we do that, it's almost like a slap in the wrist. I know. Go back to your box. Right?
Yeah, absolutely that. I know. And that's what we were talking to a little bit early on, is that, you want to maybe try and move away from phones, but that you're not going to be given... I
know if I do a video today about the S24 Ultra, it will bang. It will be at least 10,000 views by tomorrow. I can, it sounds arrogant.
No, you know your channel.
I know exactly that will work.
Absolutely.
But there's not much point, right? It's just to kind of regurgitate what's already there. I don't find that inspiring. So so I thought I'd try something new. It's December anyway, and I had agreed to a few videos as well, like sponsored videos. I'm quite proud to have stuck to my guns in 2023, and I think I did less than 5 dedicated videos, which is good. It's way less than the year before, and it was way less stressful as well because I could just do what I wanted. This year I'll probably try to stick to that same level, but I want to make sure that it's sustainable as a business, right? Because at some point in Q1, hopefully, the channel will reach 100K. And I'm thinking
87. Did I see on today?
I think I'm gonna hit 90 today. So it's only 10,000. Which, in September, that would have been, okay, it'll take me a few weeks. But now it's probably looking like March, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of things I know you've sort of said to me along the journey. And I've had a couple of good weeks and seen some good growth. And you said that once you begin to turn that corner of a couple of thousand, that will soon begin to go to 3. And the last 1,000 I've done has only taken me a month. So amazing,
right? 1,000 a month is a decent pace. I mean, that's amazing. That's really cool.
The video last week did me just under 270 subs, which I was almost thinking, oh, Jesus, these bots. I was getting that. It's sad, but I was actually beginning to worry that, could I be double invalid trafficked? I don't know. I was thinking, this is, I don't know if this is good. I'm hoping it's good. I've done nothing wrong. I mean, they're all genuine. And the comments, there's 250 odd comments on it. I mean, it's gone.
Yeah, that's the healthy sign of it, right? If you're getting lots of views, and also lots of comments and engagement. There's lots subs. On there. I mean, that's all good signals, right? That YouTube love. And I mean, 1,000 is not far off what I was doing in December.
That's the thing.
I think I did maybe close to 2,000, but that's quite poor for me.
Yeah. So, and obviously a small channel. I've been. I think
that's amazing.
Yeah. I'm sticking to exactly what you said. I'm sticking to what people seem to want of me now, which is this. I've gone this whole conversation route now. Mm-hmm. So rather than just making it a review, I think I'm walking away from that. It's having a conversation about something,
right?
What I might like about it, what I wouldn't use, but not just sitting down and doing a review and showing endless pictures taken. It's just people seem to like that approach,
like a thought piece, right? Yeah, so that's good. I mean, that's I do that sometimes. I just talk about general things without actually reviewing anything. I actually enjoy doing that. And those videos, in my case anyway, they are mostly evergreen. Like I talk about the ecosystem battle, right, between iOS and Android. I've got a couple of those videos that are constantly getting views, and they've almost got to keep the channel afloat. I think that's great. I mean, if that's the style that people want and that's working,
it seems,
and you enjoy it. So
I love it. Well, it's almost getting back to the radio days. The last 2 videos, I haven't had one edit. They've both been sat down, recorded for 19 minutes, used 17. It was, no cuts.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I have this thing. I just go out, and before I come to the studio, I go out for a long walk and I just run it in my head. Yeah. I'm just talking the script almost. And I get in here, sit down, camera on, and just talk. And You know,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm waiting for it to burst.
And I think I'm going to have to do that. I think I did that last year a couple of times.
You did.
Because I was like, I don't have time to do my,
I remember you did one sat on your sofa over in the corner. You did one on a Saturday night or something.
And I'm going to have to do that a lot more this year, just because my other business is just, I thought I'd be kind of out of it by now, but it's just not happened. So in fact is worse in terms of my time. So I think, that's great. But I'm curious, and I'm sure a lot of people listening or watching is that they're also curious on, have you noticed any uptick in terms of retention? Obviously, subs are coming in, so there's something working there. But if you compare that video that you did sitting down having a chat, versus your Pixel 8 review, for example, how does that compare in terms of
AVD's better?
Yeah,
it's up a couple of minutes. I don't know what that is in percent, but it's
holy crap, that's amazing. Well, 2 minutes,
extra.
Higher,
yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah.
I mean, that could be that was very low beforehand, but I mean,
if you're seeing a difference of 2 minutes, right? If you see like 10 seconds, okay, you can't really tell, right? But 2 minutes is.
And again, jumping in, don't know if I'm making a fool of myself. I think at the end of last week's video, I was around about 23% retention. I don't know if that's good or not.
Yeah, that's kind of low, to be honest. But yeah, it depends on how long the videos are, right? If you're doing
they're longer. They're all over 15 minutes at the moment.
Yeah.
So you kind of know that you're not punching.
You want to get close to 50%. I mean, in tech is so hard, right? If I get something that is above 50, I'm jumping up and down of happiness. Most of mine are like 40, 45.
Okay, so I need to work on that. Right.
50, I mean, I had 5 or 6 of those that actually were close to 60 last year, but they were usually comparisons. They were bangers basically, which you can't do it. I tell you what, videos. Sorry to interrupt there. Something I just remembered that YouTube recently on the YouTube Studio app, started to show 3 different types of content. Have you seen that? It's like a flagship type. There's
where are you looking?
You know what? I think they do like once a week. They show you.
They send that newsletter on a Monday kind of thing or whatever it is. Showing what you've done for last week.
There's your weekly recap, and then in there, and it's not there now, but it. Let me see. He actually had Roberto. You know Roberto Blake?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had his picture on it, but it was basically saying create content or plan your content with 3 different styles in mind. One, that would be that video that you spend a lot of time on, so your bangers, and maybe you do that once a month, and then every other week you do like something that is more evergreen content, and do a shorter video that is going to be topical for that week, and then people are not going to. So it's really cool that. Yeah, it's like just a quick reminder for us really to go. Not every single video needs to be a banger. I mean, it'd be amazing if we could, but it's just physically, in my niche anyway, in our niche, is going to be quite draining to every week do something that is that involved.
And with your bigger performing videos, and the ones that have done really well for you, is your click through higher than normal on those?
Yeah, I mean, my CTR is pretty decent because I don't think it's the thumbnail specifically, to be honest. I think it's more the topic, the timing. I've been very lucky with timing. I say lucky, I mean the iPhone stuff I kind of knew.
It's planning,
but it's lucky in the sense that it could go either way for me, right? Sometimes I think this one is going to bang and it doesn't. But for the iPhone stuff, when I say don't waste your money, it's worked for 3 years in a row. and I got to ProRes. If I know exactly, not even just the date now, I know exactly what time to do it. But the optimal, I was training with this one this year, so it's like, okay, I know what to do next year. But I think it's the CTR for me is a bit of a is always, if like I said, if it goes below 10% when I upload, I'm worrying. Unless it's a video that I know it's completely out there and it's not part of my kind of bread and butter. Like today's video is a case video and it's definitely below 10%. And I haven't changed the title. I'm not going to. Maybe I'll change the thumb tomorrow, but I'm not.
I'm guessing that's a sponsored video, clearly. I'll take it.
No,
it's not. Just purely on cases.
Yeah, I had so many of them, and I thought, I'm trying to get ready for next week. And if I do something heavy this week, then I know I'm already going to feel tired. So this weekend, actually, I'm not doing anything other than getting ready for, tidying up. I'm going to do some content creation, but not rushing to upload it. Because there's also the Brazilian channel, which is
still doing well.
Yeah, it's 62,000 now. It's mental.
And the one thing I will be doing after we finish is finishing up the short. That's the other little thing that I've at the moment say, while it's not broken, I'm not going to try and fix it. So Friday uploads, 5:35, seem to be doing fairly well. It's interesting. This video did well this week. Initially, didn't do well at all. It took until about Saturday evening, so at least 24 hours later before.
When did you up? Okay.
5:35. I'm doing it at the same time. The last 3-4 weeks have been the same time on a Friday, and I've gone by the analytics, and it's performed well. But equally, the shorts, I put a short up on a Sunday lunchtime now, where I used to get 100, 200. My last 3 or 4 have all had 2,000 hits. So I'm kind of not going to break it.
No, exactly. And it's something that you can repeat it easily.
Yeah.
And crack on.
Yeah. I just wanted to talk about CapCut. I've never used it.
Yeah, I use it. Yeah.
This is a bit self-indulgent. Talk me through it. What's it do?
Just download it and use it. It's so easy.
On your phone, on the Mac?
Yeah. The best thing for me is on everything. Yeah, it works on everything. I actually paid for the desktop Pro or whatever. So is there, I use it purely for the
text.
The captions.
Yeah.
Because it's just so accurate and so, it's just
So
amazing.
your shorts I've seen where you sort of got the bullet of color going along, is that all through CapCut that's happening?
No, those were in Final Cut.
Right.
The CapCut is where there's a text, it's usually white text on blue kind of background. It's just amazing. Yeah.
And you get that in the free version, do you?
Not sure, to be honest. No, there are the actual style of the text. Some of them are like Pro styles. You only get them. And so the nicer ones are obviously in the Pro bit. I don't think it's worth it. It's worth it.
Do you record your shorts into CapCut then, or do you upload your video file into CapCut?
I should care less about shorts and just do it on my phone and just use the CapCut app. But I don't do that. I do most of the edit on Final Cut, and then when he's ready to export, I then load that into CapCut to do the final bits, which is basically adding the captions to him.
Right.
And it can do audio stuff. It can do some effects as well. And I have used that in my Google Pixel short last week. I used CapCut's transition effects to make it a bit more fun.
Oh, is that where it went sideways? And
they were talking about AI.
I've been watching. I've been spying, keeping an eye on what's going on with my boy.
Yeah. I don't use it as much as I should. But I tell you what I did do, we haven't talked about yet. I got a helper.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I got...
Not an AI, an actual physical?
Physical helper, yeah. It's kind of almost like a work experience type. I'm kind of training her, and she's here 3 days a week now. And eventually she's going to do all of my socials. I'm teaching her video editing as well, but it's going to take some time. But anything to kind of release... give me some relief on that.
Oh, well done, mate. Yeah. I mean, it was a long time coming. It's probably needed to happen a bit, didn't it?
I need a team, really, if I want to carry on. But baby steps.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's always something else to be doing, isn't there? So always something else. But, well, I'm glad we got back in the seat again this year.
Yes.
It was a little break was worth it.
It's good. It's good to keep consistent, right? And, I do feel, I'm sure people listening and watching, let us know what you'd like. But I feel that we should be doing more like bite-sized content, because we talk about stuff that is really cool. I mean, especially when we have guests.
Yeah, well,
but then it just stays in that long video, like it's an hour long or even an hour and a half sometimes.
I think I've given you all the logins to Riverside. I'll remind you to have a look, because they create I'm happy for you to upload them onto your Instas, whatever. They're there ready for us to use. So once we get this done.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I wonder if I can get my helper to kind of, because I can't. Yeah. Honestly, I can't.
No, it was it was something I was going to talk about. Really, I think I really do believe this is a good. I listen to a lot of tech podcasts, and I think the subjects we cover are really good. And I know that the channel's not getting the views it should be getting, which hurts, because it's because you and I are so busy. You've got 2 channels. And
there are long ass videos, and it's hard, we title it to be kind of punchy and get to kind of a point. But if I click on a video that is about the S24 Ultra, which is probably what we're going to do for this one, right? Mention it somehow.
Yep.
And it's not just about that. I'm going to click off. So I think we need to do something around making the podcast
We could think about to maybe 30
bite-sized.
Yeah, we could, or maybe do 30-minute podcasts and actually just make them really short.
No, I wouldn't change. This is fine. I think we'll change the length, but the actual once we upload the long form, I mean, there's ways of just uploading 5 minutes where we talked about one thing.
Yeah, good idea. All right. That's what we'll try and do then. Because I love this podcast. I really want it to work, and it's just, it's hard because we've both got other things we have to be doing. But
it is tricky, right? Because it's not our priority, and it shouldn't be, right? We're growing channels.
And you and I both know that any channel needs a lot of love to make it work. It takes all your time and effort. And that's sadly why minus 16. But I still stand by the fact what we talk about is really good.
It is. And that's what I'm saying. It's a shame that it's buried in an hour video that no one's going to watch. Right? I think we just need to find a way of.
And particularly if you've got somebody there now that you can sort of say maybe on one afternoon, have a quick look at that. And
I might go to that as a training thing. So I just, because, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. There's not much that can go. There's no editing really. It's just cutting bits.
Exactly.
Like if I say to her from this bit to this bit, just cut that conversation, upload it.
Yeah. All right, let's do some of that. And you can put it into CapCut and get some captions on it as well.
Exactly. No.
Job's a good one. Wonderful as ever, mate. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, and we'll know a lot more about Samsung and Galaxy AI by then as well.
Exciting. Yeah.
You're going to be knackered.
Cheers.
See ya. Bye-bye.